Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about the spiritual attribute of At-One-Ment. Now, there's a bit of an overlap between spiritual integration and At-One-Ment, so you might find it useful to go back and have another listen to the video that I did on spiritual integration. You don't have to, but some of what I said in there also applies to At-One-Ment. Some of these spiritual attributes are easier to examine in isolation than others. In reality, all 49 spiritual attributes are aspects of one. But in order to be able to understand them and then use them as tools to aid our spiritual growth, we have to be able to examine them separately first. Once we've done that and we have a grasp of what each one is, we find we automatically use them together, or notice in things that we're doing that there's this one in play and that one in play and another. And by actually looking for that in daily life, where are these attributes working in daily life and at all the various levels, because they even do work right down to the physical. So that's an exercise in itself, in looking at them as spiritual attributes and saying, well, how is this attribute working at a lower vibration? Because they do, because they are an energy. So they do have lower vibrational applications. And anything you basically do with the spiritual attributes, as far as examining them, seeing how they work at lower levels, how they work together, all of that helps you to understand them, helps you to awaken them within yourself. Because they are connected to you. They are connected to your intelligence. The universe is intelligence. The creator, the source, is intelligence, as are you. And these spiritual attributes work via this intelligence. So, back to my topic of At-One-Ment. What we think of at one, being at one with something or someone even. In this case, we're not talking about being at one with another person, but at times you may feel that, whether it be romantically or even just intellectually. We say sometimes that you and, like myself and this other person, at this point in time, we're reading off the same page. That's sort of like saying you are at one in some way. It may just be about one particular idea or belief or direction to take, but it is an aspect of At-One-Ment. What we're looking at here with At-One-Ment is At-One-Ment being a state of being that we are working towards, and spiritual integration is a process of integrating aspects of our spiritual beliefs, as well as our being, our spiritual, mental, emotional and physical into one, our soul and our personality integrating into one. Well, true At-One-Ment, the first stage of it spiritually, is that our soul and our personality are at one. Once we achieve that, then there are other At-One-Ments, being at one with Source, with the Creator, being at one with the universe, being at one with the human group soul or oversoul. So here we're looking at interconnectedness. You may have come across that term, interconnectedness. It means everything is interconnected. Every soul is interconnected. Every aspect of material existence is in some way interconnected, even though we can't see it. So what affects one person in some way affects another, even though it's not necessarily felt. But whatever you do, say, feel, come to understand and know, because of the interconnectedness of the all that it is, that becomes part of a wellspring that every being in creation can access at some stage, just as you can access everything at some stage. Here we are, in a way, linking to the knowing, which is another one of the spiritual attributes. So when we are looking at the spiritual attribute of At-One-Ment, we're not only looking at that integration of the aspects of our being and the integration of our various beliefs, spiritual beliefs. It's us becoming whole with ourselves and then with greater than ourselves. So that is what we're working towards. Now, sometimes on this journey towards At-One-Ment, we actually have to dispose of things. I touched upon that briefly in spiritual integration, and now I'm going to look at it in a little greater depth. Because you cannot be at one with something you don't resonate with. And there may be aspects about you at whatever level, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, that you no longer resonate with. I'm not saying you should shed your leg because I don't resonate with my leg anymore. I don't mean it at physical as to that physical parts of the body aspect. I mean more to do with your physical life, your daily life as you live it in this material world, but not shedding parts of your physical body. Although I guess in today's modern world, where we do have transgender people, they actually do have to shed aspects of their body in order to be able to feel one with who they truly are. So I guess in a way I was dismissing it, but it was brought to me just then that that is an aspect of At-One-Ment, which we could probably go off on a tangent and spend a lot of time thinking on. I would suggest that that is something that you give some more thought to, regardless of what your current belief system is as on transgender and some of the other related states of being that are coming to light. They've been with us all along, but people have had to hide it. Now the light is being shed on these aspects of the human existence. And it is up to us to look without judgment. But that's perhaps a topic for something entirely different. But here it has come up under the spiritual attribute of At-One-Ment. And so please take it in all sincerity and use that as part of your meditations, part of your contemplations on At-One-Ment and on broadening your awareness as a human being and of what is human. I'm not saying you have to believe any way, shape or form. All I'm asking is that you allow yourself to open your mind and to have expansions of consciousness and understanding, and to never forget that the true human is the soul, and the soul is neither male nor female. So anything really is possible as long as we keep in mind practicing harmlessness and following right action. So let us talk about the more ordinary things about disposal, shall we? And we've spoken about that as well, about when we spoke of truth, that we have our truths, and then there comes a time when we see something else and we realise, oh, I resonate to this as my truth now. And I see that what I was carrying as my truth, it doesn't feel like my truth any longer. Well, that is where the disposing comes in. We shed it. We dispose of that truth from our belief system, but we dispose of it with honour because it has served its purpose. And that is part of our journey towards wholeness. We cannot be whole with ideas or aspects that we don't resonate to, that just don't fit in our jigsaw puzzle anymore. Yes, you buy a jigsaw puzzle and it comes with so many pieces and they all fit together and that's it. You can take it all apart again, but you have to put it back together in the same way. But that's a physically limited jigsaw puzzle. We as human beings are a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, but we are not physically limited. We have parts that serve their purpose and then they can go away and they can be replaced by another part. And it may be two parts have gone to allow one part to take its place. So our jigsaw puzzle is very fluid. And the journey towards at-one-ment has to be one of fluidity. We cannot be rigid. For it is in being rigid that we stop that beautiful flow of our existence. And that flow of our existence started from the very first inkling of self-awareness we had in the very first life we had as a conscious or self-conscious human being. A flow started. And we have been either flowing with or fighting that flow through all of our incarnations. The wise person tries to get in touch with that flow in any given lifetime and to work in harmony with it, because that is part of the journey towards at-one-ment. So I will not say any more on at-one-ment now. You have the interconnectedness to think about, to meditate on. You have some other aspects of disposing that have come up in this discourse. For I do not plan these discourses. I have my topic, a very rough idea, and I start to speak. And I know the teachers guide me then with the words that must come out of my mouth. So I trust them to deliver to you what it is you need to hear about at-one-ment and any of the other spiritual attributes at the time. Thank you for listening to me.